guys, Dr. McDowell here. Today we're going to talk about quad text sets. That's our first big project that we're going to write this semester. I'm going to flip back and forth between the camera and the assignment, and I'm going to show you a sample one. This is probably going to be the longest video that I will ever show you in this class, just because I want to show you the whole quad text set that I created as a model, and I probably will pause it to talk about it. And so because there's videos and stuff, it's going to be long. Just bear with. We got this. Okay. Okay, so the quad text set is grounded in the research from Lupo and everybody else. So you should have already read this article, because I think your questions connections should be in at this point. This article talks about quad text sets and why they're used and why they're needed. And basically, a very simplified version, the too long didn't read version, it's a way to help our students get a foundation of the information that they're reading. So that's the whole point of this class, right? Is helping our students figure out what they're reading in the content areas, whether it's a science textbook, a math problem, a history book. We need to help our students understand the material, and we're going to teach them strategies for reading informational text and comprehending informational text and what to do with that information to help retain knowledge. So the quad text set is one model of helping them with content literacy. And the premise is that you have a target text that's going to be at the student's grade level. And we all know 100% of your students will not always be at grade level. That's just, I mean, the rule of odds. There's like a math term for that. I can't think of it. But I mean, that's your reality. So we want to make sure our students still get the content though, because they need to know the information. We want them to read at grade level. That's always our goal. But when you have students who can't read at grade level, they're just not there yet, we still need to help them get the content, the information, what's important. So the quad text set is a way to help level the playing field for everybody to get the information that they need to know. And it's a way to differentiate your instruction, which is, I mean, something you could say in your interview for your future job. You know, when the principal asks you, how are you going to differentiate your classroom? You can talk about quad text sets. It's really hard to say that quickly. So let's go back to Canvas. I'm going to try and talk really fast so this video doesn't take too long. Okay, so here's the assignment. I'm going to go over the assignment first, and then I'll go over my sample. So the assignment, using the research from Lupo, etc., you will create a quad text set centered on one content area topic. Social studies if you're elementary. Let's go ahead and talk about that, because I should have put this in the introduction video, and I didn't. What we've done as a College of Education, we've been looking at the praxis. Y'all know we have all these praxis tests to take, right? And historically, the social studies praxis has been giving our students the most issues. So Dr. Sutherland and I sat down one day and we talked about this course, and we came up with this. This is a good way for you to help get grounded in social studies theory before you move on to social studies methods, before you move on to taking that praxis. So if you're middle level, I'll talk to you in a minute. But if you're elementary, I want you to consider this course to be reading and writing in the social studies area. Okay, we're going to focus on social studies. We're going to focus on the history, the geography, civics, and economics. Okay, so for this assignment, and in your unit plan, you're going to focus on something social studies, okay? And I'll talk about that later. If you're middle level, I want you to use one of your two content areas, not math though. Math is very important. It is really hard to make this project work with math. I'm not saying you can't do it, but as fast-paced as this course is, I'm saying don't use math. So if you're science and math, I want you to pick science. If you're social studies and math, then obviously pick social studies. We're not picking language arts because I'm talking about content area curriculum. So if you're mid-level, you can pick science or social studies. If you're elementary, you're going to pick social studies. Okay, back to the assignment. So Please note that you do not need to purchase text for this assignment. YouTube has a lot of read-alouds on its site that allow you to read the text. Newsela is a great source for informational text. I'll do a separate video on Newsela. So you're going to need a social studies or science topic that is based upon Arkansas state standards. Target text is at the same grade level as your standard. A video text, YouTube is a great place for those, but not a read aloud. A read aloud can be for your, we'll talk about that in a minute, not a read aloud for the video text. An accessible text that is at least 2 grade levels below your standard, that can be a read aloud, okay? And then an informational text that provides extra information. You have 2 options on how to submit this assignment. You can create a PowerPoint or Google Slides, or you can create a Prezi. For each text, you must include the following: a picture of the text or an embedded video. Do not hyperlink it. I don't want to click on your link. I want it to automatically play when I open it. A rationale for selecting that text and how it fits into the set as a whole. A reflection on your process. Think about the following points. What went well for you? What gave you the most difficulty? What would you do differently? How would you use this in your future classroom? What did you learn about yourself as you created this project? And then a references slide in APA format. Hyperlinks are not acceptable. Hyperlinks are not a citation. They're not. They're just a hyperlink. You need to practice your APA citations. And then I have a rubric, so I'm grading on the standard. Is it written out and is it appropriate fit? Your target text, is it fit the standard and the grade level? Your video text, is it support the content of a target text? Your accessible text, does it also support the target text? And then the informational text, does it go above and beyond? Does it extend the information? So the informational text is not repeating the information, it's giving you extra information. And then your rationale, why you think each text is a good fit, and your references page, and your reflection. So it's going to be worth 50 points. And let's take a look at an example, and I think this will start to make more sense. So, oh, sad, Prezi. Wait. Yay, Prezi. Okay, while that's loading, I'm going to do 2 separate videos. I'm going to do one about using Newsela, how to use Newsela, it's awesome. And I'm going to do one about state standards. So look for those. And if you're unfamiliar with the state standards, I'm going to say pause this video right now, go watch the state standards video, and then come back to this video. Okay? Cool. Okay, let's present from the beginning. Oh, Prezi, you're so silly. Okay, so, too fast. My quad text set is How a Bill Becomes a Law. And I chose Prezi just because I wanted to try something different. And I chose this balancing act graphic because that's how it makes sense to me. The quad text set is, oh goodness, I hit something. Because too often in our content area classes, our students read the textbook, take a test, read the textbook, take a test, read the textbook, take a test. And they're not retaining information. They're memorizing information, they're using rote memorization, they're writing the answers on a test, and then they forget it. And that's not learning, that's just memorization. So we want them to actually learn and understand and comprehend. So that's the whole point of the quad text set. Okay, so let's jump in. So the standard I chose was a social studies standard, C351. I'll tell you what that means in the other video. Compare the process for creating rules and laws at the local, state, and federal levels. So my target text is the Constitution. Boy, I just have so many sidebars. This is the first time I've taught this project online, and I just have so much to share. There's a big push in social studies to use primary sources, and that means they're firsthand accounts. You could read an article about the Constitution, that's a secondary source. Or you can read the actual Constitution, that's a primary source. Huge, okay? So rather than learning things third hand through somebody else, you get the knowledge from the actual source. So this is a primary document. Here's the actual Constitution. If we were in face-to-face class, I would have you read through this real fast and then tell me how a bill becomes a law. And some of you will totally grasp it, and some of you will be like, whoa, I'm really not sure what I just read. And that's totally fine because your students are the same way. So anyway, we would read this and then see, okay, does everybody understand exactly how a bill becomes law? Not quite often they don't. So this is where the rest of the text set comes into play. So from there, whoops, I have my video text. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you because you can access this link on Canvas, but I'll start it for you. Your body grows stronger because knowledge is power. Go House Rock. So this is my obvious choice. Miss, I'm only a bill. Okay, I've seen that so many times. So I chose that video text because it explains how a bill becomes a law. Okay, so the idea is that you show this video to your students, maybe as an anticipation guide, maybe as a warmer, a brain warmer. But you show them this video, and then they go back and read the Constitution. And they've got those mental pictures from the video. They've got the little song in their head, and they remember things. They remember, okay, the Senate has to vote, and then the House has to vote, and then the president can veto it or sign it or do nothing, and then it becomes a law anyway, which personally to me seems lazy, but whatever. But that video really helps cement because you're talking about multiple intelligence, and you got your music intelligence, you got your visual intelligence all working together. Yes, okay. So that's the video text. From there, I have my accessible text. Now remember, your accessible text has to be at least 2 grade levels below your standard. So if you have a 7th grade standard, your accessible text should be 5th grade or lower. And you might be thinking, I don't want to offend my students by giving them a picture book. Let me tell you, I taught 8th grade for 10 years, and I use picture books in my classroom all the time. And my students would get so excited for story time. They were like, oh, Mr. Adele, can we sit on the floor, crisscross applesauce? I'm like, yes, of course you can. And they would get really into it. One of my best friends is a social studies teacher, and she would have accessible text all around her classroom. So they're studying, Emancipation Proclamation, and she has picture books around her classroom for them. And students would go during their work time and they would read those. They would read the text up and then put that down, and they'd go get the picture book and they'd read the picture book, and she'd talk to them about it. And it was very much like a workshop approach where everybody's working at their own pace, but it worked. So we have students who were, they were below grade level. Everybody knew it, sadly, but yet they were still getting the content. They could still have a conversation about whatever they're learning in social studies instead of just not being accessible to that information. So you rock on with those picture books because they're awesome. If our library was open, I would tell you go to the Huey Library, go to the 2nd floor. They have a really good children's section. However, the library is closed to you right now. And this is where I want to emphasize, please do not spend money on this class, on this project. You can you can do a Google search, like let's say you're picking Emancipation Proclamation, or maybe King George the something, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, I don't know. Or economic trends in 1982. I don't know. We'll have to look at the standards to figure out the topics. But from there, gosh, I just lost my point. You find the books. I'm going to pause this until I find my point. Hang on. I lost it. Whatever idea I had, it's gone. But so anyway, you have your topic. You do a quick Google search for books, right? You type in picture books about the value of the dollar or the climate of the Saharan desert, or why don't we have kings in the United States, okay? So find your topic, find a standard to make sure it's at grade level. So if you want to work with 3rd grade, you're going to find a 3rd grade standard. that means your picture book would be first grade standard, first grade reading level or below. And there's going to be a whole nother video about how to find the reading level of a book. That's actually what chapter 1 is all about. And let's see. I think I'm digressing. Okay, so anyway, my accessible text is the most awesome book. Again, you can watch this video. You can click on my sample Prezi link on your own and watch the whole thing. Just to keep this video shorter, I'm not going to play it for you, but I do have the cutest book. And if we were in class, I would do a great read aloud. But alas, the book is in my office, which I'm not allowed to go to, and I don't have it, but I found it on YouTube. Okay, I'm babbling, I'm sorry. So this is the accessible text. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. House Mouse, Senate Mouse is the name of the book. It's so cute. It's a very long introduction, my goodness. You see this? TJ was here. Who do you think that was? Yeah, Thomas Jefferson. All right, this book is so adorable, but I'm not going to play it for you now. You can watch it on the other link so we can. Okay, so same concept. You have a topic, how a bill becomes a law. You have the Constitution, which for some is very difficult to read. So you give them something that's way easier for them to read. Because this is not about teaching them to be good readers, although that is so very important. But this is more about getting them access to the information that they need. And you'll find that some of your students who don't need a lower level of reading, they still feel the support from having a read aloud like this in class. They still enjoy it, and at worst, it just reinforces the concept for them. So you can read to students at any level of they like to be read to. So there I have my accessible text, and then finally I have my informational text. Now remember, an informational text has to be going above and beyond. Not above and beyond, it just has to go beyond. So it's not that I'm just regurgitating the same information, I'm introducing something new. And this is really going to help your gifted and talented students who maybe already grasp the information right away and they are hungry for more. So you give them an informational text where they learn extra information and they're still peaked, they're still engaged, they're still curious, they're learning more. It's really a win-win-win-win-win. So for mine, I picked How a Bill Becomes a Law in Arkansas, which does rhyme. And I picked that, let me shoot back real quick, because of my standard, which is to compare the process for creating rules of the laws at local, state, and federal levels. So the target text, the video text, the accessible text are all at the federal level. So I added this informational text about how a bill becomes a law in Arkansas. This is talking about the state level. And then from there, we would have a comparison of the two. How is the different at the state level versus the federal level? Spoiler alert, there really aren't that many differences, except you take out the president, you put in the governor. But anywho. And then from there, and you can click on it, you can zoom in on it, you can read it to your leisure. You can pause this video and read it if you'd like. And then, what I don't have in my model, but you have to have a rationale for why you're choosing each text, okay? Again, I don't want to hyperlink, so see how my YouTube videos were embedded? That's what I want you to do. If you need help with that, let me know. I'd say I'm a medium tech person. I'm not like super high tech, but I'm not low tech either. I'm like right in the middle. So I can do a lot of stuff, and I can help you figure that out. If you need help, just email me. But then also, and if you're doing a Google Slides, you might want to do like half the slide your text and the other half like the rationale. With Prezi, you can just crazy with all the different zooming locations. But do have that. And then you will need a works cited page. Works cited pages are very hard to do in Prezi because it won't let me play with the tabs and the margins, and that's kind of frustrating. But notice, like I have house mouse, senate mouse, and that should be italicized. Oh my goodness, I'm embarrassed. I've got I'm just a build video, and notice, yes, the hyperlink's in there, but there's more to it than just a hyperlink. Okay, so make sure you're giving me all the information. And whoops, I think that was the last part. And then I don't have this slide, but you will also have a slide that you talk me through your reflection. Okay, so that is the quad text set. It's the easiest way to approach this is to find your standard, find your target text, then look for books that are below grade level. And I'm going to show you some ways to figure that out in a different video, in the next video. Okay, that's it. Happy quad text setting, writing, putting together. I don't know, I'm out of verbs. Bye.